It's Ronnie, and welcome to the Paper Crafting YouTubers Hot for November. And the theme this month is nature. So I'm going to do a fall layout using this picture of my granddaughter. And the background paper is 49 and Market in the Leaves. It's that cover page. And then part of the stuff is from that collection and part of it is from Simple Stories. And I'm showing that die set there and see all those ones that's already cut out. Oh, I was happy to see that. And on this one here, all those little teeny, tiny flowers have been cut out and put together. And there's like several sizes in it. It's a background from Prima. And I got it off of Peachy Cheap a long time ago. And I had it in with my cards for a background for a card. And then I noticed this one actually could make flowers. I'm using wild honey and rusty hinge, and I put both of them on there so that I'd have spaces that had darker and spaces that had lighter. Well, spaces, they're not spaces, globs of ink on there so that I could have two colors on the back of my layout. It does have a really light background on there, kind of little tingy towards the gray like spots. It's a very light tone on tone, and so you couldn't see nothing hardly at all unless you were looking close. I'm using the wild honey on this embossing stencil, and so it won't be too dark, and so I won't use the rusty hinge until I get ready for it to be darker. I am using the wild honey on this plus that green there, and the green is Mold Lawn, I think. No, peeled paint. It's peeled paint. And this stencil I am using the rusty hinge on because I wanted it to be a little bit darker. I didn't want the background totally popping out, but I didn't want it as light a color as it was to start with. And the photo, it's already on foam tape because I thought I'd kind of tuck stuff underneath it. Oh, here, I'm doing this practically for nothing. I'm putting it there with one thing in mind for the layout, but when I actually start doing my cluster there and up there on the top left-hand corner, I'm going to decide to do it another way, so that did not work out. A little bit will show, but not that much. Well, it shows more on the top than the bottom. So and I even added a little more in the corner there, but then I decided to add uh, some other things with that die there, the cattails die. And so, yeah, I just really did it for nothing. I picked out a bunch of things I thought I might want to use. And I'm trying to put them in the right places on the layout so that all I have to do is kind of grab them while I was digging them out. And I thought I'd put that teal colored. Well, it's off the sticker book and it says Hello Fall over and over again. And I didn't want to just put it, well, it's super thin for one thing, so I had to do something with it. And I put some orange behind it first, and so it'd be ready. But then I decided to put a log there using some of that cardstock, and that is Craft Consortium cardstock. And I thought about putting my cattails in the front here. However, I'm going to decide to tuck them in the back. And if you pay attention, I never did glue them down. However, I checked it a while ago while I was editing on the video, and it seemed pretty stuck. So I put enough stuff around it that it did not matter. It's not ever going to move. I did take a marker and mark the darker part of the cattails so that it would look like, cattails do look. But, and it's just a regular marker. It's not an alcohol marker or anything. I had to cut that edge off there. I didn't do a very good job because I didn't want to lift the whole thing up and lose all that stuff I had on top. But I fixed it. It looks okay now. I did cut just a little bit more. And that piece there, I seen it in with everything else, but it is kind of a black and white. It is a Christmas one, but it was left over for one of the layouts. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and tuck it in there. I like it, and so I'm going to tuck it in. I had another piece where I cut it off, and I thought about using it somewhere else, and then forgot all about it, so it didn't happen. And yes, I was watching videos while doing this. So, yeah, I can get kind of sidetracked. And sometimes I can come to a dead halt watching them because I'm watching them more than I am making my layout. I had that little piece of film strip left over from another layout, so we'll be cutting it in half. At first I thought I'd just have it to the right hand side and that's it, like it is right now, but I'm going to cut it in half. I hadn't planned to use that crate with the pumpkins from the 6x8 paper pad. I even had it cut out and everything. However, I decided I wanted the wagon wheel, so I had to pull that die out. And I used, well, it's a brushed metal looking metallic cardstock. I think it is from Recollections, maybe? I can't remember, but it's a paper pad. I used it and some Craft Consortium wood grain cardstock. And it's from a paper pad, so it's not as thick as some, but I still love it. I put foam tape between the wooden part that's just the outer ring, and I will take a marker and mark around it, both inside and out, because the white seemed to kind of glare at me. However, I'm going to put so much stuff on top of it that it probably wouldn't have mattered at all. Anyway, but here I am with the marker. So my white foam tape is now brown. I thought about sliding it under there a little bit, and then I got the idea to put it down there in the bottom right hand corner. However, I didn't care for that as much, so it is going to go to the right hand side of the photo, and I'll save the other piece for another layout. I am pretty sure I uh, printed that photo last fall and matted it. Well, it was matted, all that was already done, but I don't remember doing it recently. So I am thinking last fall. And it was actually still in the collection here. And so I thought, boy, it's going to get lost forever if I just don't go ahead and put it on a layout. So that's what I'm doing. And that was when I decided also right here just a minute ago to make my film strip look longer. And that is that plaid cardstock that I've had probably 15 years, a long, long time. And it's as sturdy, really, as the 49er Market. And it's called Daisy D, I believe, is the one who made it, which I haven't heard of in a very long time either. But it was really good cardstock. One side was green and the other side plaid, but you can't tell it's plaid. It just looks kind of rustic once you get the film strip cut out. Oh, I am back down here working on that cluster just a little bit more and adding some of the leaves down there. I thought I'd do the teal ones to kind of go with her jeans, but it didn't look like I had enough. However, I do find more over in that baggie, and wished maybe I had have, but I was fine with it not, because it really, with the darker colors, it kind of makes the whole picture pop off the page. Now, if you watched my last fall layout, you've probably seen those flowers. They were already fussy cut from last fall or sometime or another. And I knew there was three of them. I thought, well, I'm just going to make sure I use them on this layout. And one's going to end up in the floor. I will seriously hunt for it for probably 5 minutes, but I cut all that out. But yeah, I finally found it. I moved my foot. I had put my foot on top of it, so it made it a little harder to find. But yeah, it was there, and it made it on the layout. I was even checking my elbows because I had a sweater on, and this thing, yeah, stuff sticks to it. And I'm going to punch out some branches later, and a few will stick to it. And I didn't find them until I came in here. Uh, I wanted to use this little ticket. I wanted to use it, I think it was last time or time before I made a layout. And so it was out. It just never made it on either one of those layouts. But it's going to actually make it on there this time. And I was trying to figure out where I could put it so that it wouldn't be just hanging there. So I will end up pulling in some more scraps so that I can spread them out there. That banner, and looking at it now on the video, it looks fine the way it is. And just move it down just a little bit and over to the left a tiny bit, it would have been fine. But at the time, I think, I'm thinking it needs something. So yeah, it's getting something. The scrap was there, and I believe it was a journaling card, and this was all that was left of it. And so I'm trimming it up and inking it with tea dye. And then I got another scrap of the wood grain and added it to the bottom because, like I said, some of this paper is a little on the thin side, which some is thicker, and this one is on the thin side. And I think I put foam tape behind. I can't remember. I wanted it sturdier though. That was a thought in my head. Yeah, there's the foam tape. I did put it on there. But I'm going to finally get that banner on there. And the banner says, "Fall leaves me happy." And whoops, I almost put it down in the wrong place and it almost went flying into the floor. Uh, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, it's a leaf. I'm just going to add a couple of leaves there, and I might go back and add another one or two. Yeah, it comes and goes. I'll put one or two down, and then I'll decide I want something else in that cluster. So I will go back on them. And I will add one more here too on that film strip. I'm I'm finally going to work on the top left-hand side of the layout. And I really wanted the orange up there, but I finally decided to go, this is kind of a charcoal gray. It's not exactly black, the frame that I'm going to end up using. But if you look over in the tray, you'll see, um, well, it's a round tag. And it is orange. And I thought, well, if I use that, I really don't want the orange diagonal stripe. And I used a little tiny, um, hold on, I got it. The light is off in here, and I cannot read something that tiny. It says "Cozy Fall Days," and I put it up there on the top. But there's that round tag, and instead of using some twine, I'm going to use that faux string. And it has been in this collection for probably a couple years, and well, maybe three. It might be three. Anyway, it kind of broke, but one good thing about stuff like that, if it breaks and kind of tears at the same time, you can layer it back on itself with a little bit of glue, and you can't tell anything happened. So that's what I did with it, because I thought, well, it's tore already. I want to put it on layout before one half of it gets lost, the smaller half, and it went on top of that tag. And here I cut out, punch out 9 of these little branches. And my sweater's going to catch them. And I didn't find them till I came in here, and it hit me. I never did put them back, other than this one little cluster. I never put the others on the layout. So I end up going back in there and putting them on and taking the photos again. And then when I get back in here, by the time I do a few other things, my computer had froze up, and I had to do all the stuff over again, except the very tiny bit at the beginning. Yeah, I hate it when that happens because I know it's my fault. I did not hit save but one time and did all that other stuff. And yeah, I had to do it all over again, the editing of the video, not the voiceover. I hadn't even started it yet, not even close. But yeah, I took the photos again and replaced them so I could have those little branches in at the end. Of course, you won't see me putting them on there, but they are in the photos. And I told myself it probably wouldn't matter, that it probably wouldn't be noticeable, and probably wouldn't make no difference in my layout. However, but the whole idea of me punching them out was to put them on. So of course I wanted to go back and do it. I'm going to use these October afternoon alphas for my title, and it's just going to be fall days. And I'm going to fill in that area with one of these wicks, what they're called, and a leaf. Well, I think I end up putting a branch on it for the photos. But yeah, I'm just going to fill in that spot right there. And I think I'm about done. I'm add a few more leaves and all those little tiny white flowers. I did use an 1/8 inch punch to punch out circles to go on them and ink them with some rusty hinge, the ones that I pulled out of that little baggie. But after I get the flowers on, I'm going to use some tarnished brass tarnished brass from Tim Holtz and splatter them on there, and my layout will be done. So while I am doing that, I want to mention that down there below you'll find the links for everybody that is doing the paper crafting YouTubers hop this month. And like I said, nature is the theme, so they can do anything nature. It's Nature November is what it is. They can do anything nature for their video today. And it doesn't have to be a layout because it's paper crafting YouTubers, so they can make anything they want. But there is my layout, and I had a lot of fun making it. And basically using leftovers from other layouts and scraps. So, yeah, and it is nature themed. But there's my little cluster in the bottom right hand corner. Boy, it went fast, didn't it? And this is the one by the photo, and see where I had to fill in all that stuff and add just a little bit more leaves and flowers to it. And there's the cluster down there below the photo. And see, I went back and put the branches on there because I just couldn't help. Well, I kept looking at them. I pulled them off my sweater and kept looking at them. So I finally went back in there and put them on. And there's my October afternoon title with my little teeny tiny cluster. And this is the one in the upper left. And I did cut that flower apart and add just a little bit up over the top of the leaves. I had foam tape under there and it wouldn't go as far as I wanted. So I just cut it off, and rather than throw it away, I used it. But there's the end of my layout. And I want to thank you all so very, very much for joining me while I created it. And make sure you go check out all the links down there below and join everybody else while they do their creations. But have a happy, scrappy week. Bye.